Welcome to XConnect the show. My name is Karim Kanji. We have a very exciting and hopefully funny and laugh-filled show today. We have with us the founders of Canada's, if not North America's, hottest new iPhone app, Flixel.com. We have both Mark and Philippe here. And before we get into the conversation, I need to thank a number of people. First of all, XConnect the show is, of course, a project of Third Ocean, and you can watch our shows on our website, XConnectTO.com, or you can subscribe, which we love people to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/XConnectTV. And we also want to give a big shout out to Define TO. Go check them out, April the 12th at the 5th Social Club in support of the Remix Project. For more info, go to defineto.com. Thanks to Big Time Design and Communications for all the design and web work, and to itbusiness.ca, our newest syndication partner. And on the other side of the camera, we have Shadaling Chung, Mark, and Philippe. Thank you for joining me.
That was amazing.
Was that great?
That was a mouthful.
That was. Now I'm done.
Can I give a couple shout outs too, or was that?
At the end you can.
Okay.
At the end you can.
Thank you.
But why don't we start? Why don't we start with an explanation of Flixel? I don't know who wants to go.
What's Flixel?
What is Flixel?
Well, I'm gonna pass the mic to our marketing head.
Or are you gonna throw it back to me?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna throw it back.
Well,
what is Flixel?
Well, Flixel essentially, as you said, is the hottest app in North America right now.
All right.
But basically, what it does, it creates living pictures. So it brings photos to life.
Okay.
So it's kind of a hybrid between photography and video. It kind of bridges that gap. So you have a still photograph, and you can just animate whatever particular area you want and bring it to life. And that's what Flixel does in seconds.
And how did the idea of Flixel come about?
Well, the idea was interesting. I was using StumbleUpon, the actual StumbleUpon.
Okay.
And I came across Cinemagraphs by Jamie Beck and Kevin Berg's work.
Artists in New York City, by the way. Amazing artists.
Yeah, amazing.
What sort of art?
So what they did is they did cinemagraphs. So what cinemagraphs were is what our app allows you to do in seconds is basically you can isolate an area within the photo and just make that move. So you would see, like, for example, the hair blowing, but everything else was still. There was a nice shot which is like a film projector, and the Coco Rocha is there sitting, and she's
Canadian supermodel.
Exactly. She's watching she's just still in the projectors.
You see the projector
moving, but everything else is still. So it was this haunting beauty, artistic art form that I wanted to do one right away. So then I checked my iPhone and like, okay, I want to download an app because I want to do a cinemagraph.
Okay.
And there was no app.
Okay.
So that's where the idea came about. And then I did more research, and I saw that you needed to use Photoshop. It took hours to do. It was complicated. It was a lengthy process. I learned how to do it.
So these artists actually had a cinemagraph, which is for a regular user, they would be unable to create something.
They were creating their own art.
For a typical user, I mean, obviously this would be a challenge. I mean, cinemagraphs are considered kind of like high art.
Yeah.
Jamie Beck and Kevin Berg basically brought back the art of animated GIFs. Remember those things
Yes.
that moved kind of on the internet, like in the 90s, were very popular.
Yeah.
So they basically kind of brought that back into the mainstream sort of consciousness in a way that is just like unbelievably cool. By having this, again, like Phil said, this still photograph, but then just one element, there's this hint of motion that's just, kind of interacting with the user, which is just, mesmerizing. Yeah. So it was like, hey, how can we do this right now in seconds instead of going through Photoshop and film and taking, I was reading it actually takes them about 8 hours to do one, like from start to finish.
One of the cinemagraphs.
So we're like 8 hours. Wow, is there a way to kind of, scale down the process to do it in 8 seconds?
In 8 seconds, yeah.
Yeah,
and that's what our app can do. So.
Exactly. And then, of course, with the popularity of Instagram, with their filters, it was like, can we do what Instagram does for filters for cinemagraphs?
Yeah.
And the idea and that's where we came up with the process and uncovering it, animating it, it made a lot of sense. So.
In a way, and I said this in an interview with Fast Company, the idea is to really...
I thought we were your first interview.
You're right. The best one thus far. But I think we wanted to pay homage to their work. It was inspired from their work. So it's in a way it's paying homage to Jamie Baker and saying like, look, this is awesome. We just want to bring this, propagate this to the mainstream.
Have you got any feedback from them? I'm curious.
You know, we tried.
Okay.
I know they're extremely busy right
Sure.
now. That's what their agent told us. Like they're traveling.
Making 8 hours.
8 hours.
Flixels.
Yeah, and charging a lot of money per hour. I might add.
Sure.
So yeah, they seem to take more and more time for some of these days. But yeah, but we're hoping that we get some feedback and it'd be an honor to be able to work with them.
Absolutely.
eventually.
That's fantastic. So, what's the difference, you know, for just a regular Joe who sees this and they say, this is like an animated GIF.
Yeah.
What is the difference between an animated GIF and Flixel, or are they exactly the same thing?
Well, I think we touched upon it, but one of the key differentiator is an animated GIF. You can't isolate just one area. An animated GIF, the whole image moves.
Yes.
And
So sometimes some of the
So it's kind of gimmicky. It's kind of like, all right, look,
cartoon.
yeah, it's like, you know, I want to see a video, so let me just like give me a narrative and show me the whole thing. So
Yeah.
seeing like, you know, an elephant just kind of move like nonstop, it's not so interesting. With our technology, you're able to, from the get-go, isolate whatever area you want of that picture
Okay.
and bring it to life, and you can preview it right away.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like live painting. You're literally painting, going, oh, I wanted this to move around the hair. If you catch someone's hair blowing in the wind, for example, let's make that move, or their smile, their eyes. We can be creative, get a couple of people in a scene and do something fantastic. Hell, we should fix a little wedding. How cool would that be? Are you getting married anytime soon or what?
I can get remarried.
Okay, well there you go. Give us a call. I mean, here, you know, flixographers at your disposal.
There you are.
Art of flixography.
Or anyone with
is,
an iPhone.
there you go.
Anyone with an iPhone.
Anyone
can
with
do
an
it.
iPhone.
Yeah.
So you guys are not originally from Toronto,
No.
No, but we like
Um,
it here.
Montreal. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it here.
Yeah, cheers.
I'll let Rob Ford know. Mark, you're from Montreal.
Yeah.
Philippe from Moncton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys took a road trip and ended up in Toronto. Like, how did that process work? I understand you guys were involved in another business
Yeah.
earlier and,
Yeah.
and rejoined for this project.
Yeah.
I don't know, Philippe, why don't you kind of give us some history, some background?
Well, we had a health and wellness business of all things.
Which is
Yeah.
boring.
Yeah.
Boring, by the way. Unless you're a pharmaceutical company, you're not
Sure.
really making a lot of money. So.
Yeah, so we had a health and wellness business.
Okay.
It was actually, as much as Mark says it was boring, we were creating something innovative in
We
that
were,
space,
absolutely.
and
Okay.
it was actually quite interesting. But we were more interested in something that scaled faster, and technology does that.
Mhm.
So we did that for about almost 3 years in
Nice.
Moncton. So we worked together. We got a good
Both
business
look
relationship.
healthy?
Thank you very much.
Thank
Karim.
you.
Pleasure.
And so that's where our business paths came from.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we wanted to build apps. And
Okay.
we're looking for a cool app to build.
I think what you have to mention is also at heart, I mean, we're artists. I mean, when we first met Phil, I mean, has a film background,
Okay.
I'm a musician, so that's where we sort of, you know, bonded on art and whatnot.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
true.
this application came up, because you're right, I mean, because we stumbled upon your interest were like cinema,
course.
film, and
Yeah, and stumble upon.
yeah, and
that's
he,
why
and
it came up.
he literally stumbled upon this and was like, dude, check these out, these are crazy. And I'm like, dude, I'm recording an album, leave me alone.
Were you both in the same city at one point
No,
in time?
at that
That's
time
why
he was
you-
in Moncton, I was trying to do an album in Montreal,
Okay.
and then it's like, I'm plugging the musician. and then I was like, okay, and then, you know, a few weeks later, so I was like, you know, I'll invest in this, you go, it's gonna take forever, we're gonna grind this out again, God, and then it's like, we raised money in like 10 days, it's like,
Okay, how did that, I'm very curious, and there's many people out there saying, 10 days, you know, I've been
Yeah.
struggling for 2
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
What was that, you know, did you have, at what process were you, you know, did you even have a name, Flixel?
You know what, Phil doesn't sleep, and then he forces me not to sleep, and that's
Yeah.
how we get things done.
Okay,
So-
so,
That's a strategy.
great short
that's a
answer,
strategy.
work hard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, where were you? You're in Moncton,
Yeah.
you know, because coming to Toronto, living here, and, you know,
Yeah.
it's not cheap, obviously.
Well,
No, so, you know, I'll get a little history. I mean,
Please,
Mark,
yeah.
Mark was the first to invest, so
Okay.
he's got the ball rolling. He invested at that point, as he mentioned, he was doing.
But I think this is good to talk also about the first business, and, you know, to people who are
Yes.
entrepreneurs and are pushing or struggling,
Yeah.
you know, it's a compound effect, and I
Yeah.
think, you know, we can elaborate on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we made a lot of good contacts with the other business, and
Okay.
we became good friends with Matt Eldridge, who
Okay.
himself was doing Olympics, a very innovative
Yeah.
software company, and they had raised a lot of money.
Mhm.
Don't check.
Exactly. And so from there, he was interested in investing, and,
Okay.
and he made some key introduction, and then it was a question of selling the concept and saying, hey, you know, if we can do this in seconds,
Mhm.
take that pain away from taking hours to do,
Yeah.
and create a new art form, a new category.
Mhm.
Like Mark,
Propagate, really, because it
Yeah.
was there, but make it relevant and make it, create
Easy.
the awareness for us
Yeah.
as well, right? And
Mhm.
facilitate it for your average user.
Sure.
I think at the end of the day, really, what Phil's trying to say is, it's relationships. And
Yeah.
I know,
That's true.
I'd start off as a relation, I'm so vague, but I mean,
Yeah.
to this point, we struggled and worked very hard for 3 years on a business that we, as much as joining health as well, we did believe in it very much.
Mhm.
And as much as we, from a business perspective, it was difficult to scale, we met a lot of really interesting people that gave us a lot of respect because they saw our work ethic and our ideas and thinking outside the box. So we built a network in the Maritimes that enabled us to leverage that network.
3 years later, as you're
Absolutely, and say, you know what, hey, I think now we have a winner, and suddenly it's like, okay, we have a potential interesting, business model that can scale.
Yeah.
You guys working really hard, let's make this happen,
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen overnight.
No,
Yeah.
you had so literally
it's
it wasn't
3
10
years,
days.
it's 3 years of work.
Yeah, this particular
to get to
project
10 days.
happened, yes, I mean, less than 4 months, here we
Yeah.
are in the marketplace, things are going great, but yeah, it was 3 years as, just in the making.
I mean, you've probably heard the Picasso story of where.
Please.
Yeah, I think it's a great story. So Picasso, someone sees Picasso at a restaurant.
Mhm.
I'm not sure the exact location, but
Sure.
you get the idea. And so they go and she says, "I love your work." The woman says, "I love your work, Picasso. Can you draw me something?"
Mhm.
He takes 2 seconds. He draws something on a napkin. He shows her
Mhm.
the work. She's like, "Wow, this is incredible. Can I have it?"
Mhm.
He's like, "Yeah, $100,000." Picasso, it took you 1 minute.
Yeah.
No, my dear, it took me 40 years
Yeah.
to get to that 1
To
minute.
get to that level.
So-
Please don't edit this out, that was brilliant.
No, absolutely. I think it's important for
Yeah,
people to understand, they hear these stories, that
Yeah.
they might get a clip, in an article that you guys have, you guys raised whatever it is in 10 days.
Yeah.
And then the backstory is that you spent 3 years, building another business,
yeah,
and in that process you were developing relationships, people met you, they liked you, and then 3 years later you come up with another idea and it matched, they liked you, they liked the idea, boom,
Yeah,
then you get it. But it took a process.
absolutely.
it took Picasso.
It took Picasso, absolutely. So now you're here in Toronto. How where did that come? Is it just because this is the largest city in Canada and you wanted to stay in Canada?
You know what?
How did that
The weather is much better than in Montreal. And forget Moncton. I mean, they're just.
I should ask you that question.
Yeah, I mean, there's just. I think it's still snowing right now.
Yeah, Toronto has been fun. I mean, it became clear for us that we had to come to Toronto
Yeah.
because of the talent that was needed
Okay.
for the development of this
Mhm.
application. So that was the first reason,
Mhm.
and we actually really fell in love with Toronto since then. So we're still here. So
Mind
it's a
you,
good
mind
sign.
you, mind you, still a Habs fan. But,
Well, I think there's a vitamin for that.
There's
you
a-
guys haven't won the cup in like what?
And so now you're with Endloop.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
It was, interestingly enough, again, we talked about relationships. Well,
Okay.
one of our investors, key mentors, Matt Eldridge, was good friends with David Crow. And David
Okay.
Crow recommended.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, shout out
Thank
to
you.
David
Yeah.
Crow for
Props.
making that introduction.
Mhm.
And we shopped around, we saw some different
Sure.
development teams, and we just felt that there was a synergy there
Mhm.
and a culture. We matched their culture.
Yeah, I
and
think
so
I think
we moved
yeah,
forward
I
with
think there
that.
was a real cultural connection, and we really wanted to be an extension of us. Whereas if
Mhm.
we had gone to like a bigger firm, it just would not been the same experience. You don't have as much control
Mhm.
over what's going on. We felt, we built some fantastic relationships there and had a good time. So
Nice.
Yeah, that was good.
So now let's talk about the app
Yeah.
available on iPhone
for now, yeah.
for now.
Yeah.
There's a roadmap, I know.
There's always a
Yeah,
roadmap.
Android.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much is it to download?
It's
I don't
free.
have an iPhone, so I don't know.
It's free.
It's the best price, you can't beat
It's the
this
best-
price.
it's the best
You
price.
just can't beat it.
Fantastic. Now, the question that everyone who's watching this right away is going to ask, well, wait a second, it's free. How the heck are they going to make money?
Yeah.
So that's a quick question I want to ask on behalf of our viewers.
Well, okay. I mean,
Or potential investors.
Or potential
there you go.
investors.
I hope you're
Yes.
well, we do have some in-app purchases right now. So we have
Okay.
certain very very nicely stylized filters
Okay.
custom design that go for 99 cents.
Mm-hmm.
A filter. We also offer a bundle, so all of them for half price.
Yeah. And we have some
Just
free filters as well. That
We
are
have free
really
filters,
good.
absolutely. So, and moving forward, I think as the technology gets better and
Mhm.
we add other really interesting features, there might be also potentially a revenue model there. Like
Okay.
pro
Pro
features,
Sure.
and potentially using a pro version for again other applications, which we won't get into too much detail right now. But again, there's a roadmap.
Yeah.
Sure.
But the bigger play is right now just acquiring a critical mass,
Mm-hmm.
a critical following, and building a social network around that.
How long has the app been available?
A little less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right now.
Okay.
Well, it's
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Actually,
tonight.
tonight's
Yeah,
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2-week anniversary.
Yeah.
Yes, we're
Yeah.
celebrating.
Yeah.
And I didn't ask you this before, so I don't know whether you want to answer or not. But how many downloads have you guys had so far?
We're very happy with the downloads.
We're very happy.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't want to. Yeah, it's let's just say this.
Okay.
It's going like that,
Okay.
and it's really great, and we're going to get a lot more press
Mhm.
in the coming days as well.
Sure.
But we're really pleased with our progress thus far.
Okay. All right.
So.
Yeah. No, it's been a good first 2 weeks. Absolutely.
So where do you guys, what's the next month or 2 months, or I don't know if we need to go longer, but what are some of the things that you guys are going to be working on in the very near future, immediate future on this project?
Magic recipe that we can't talk about. Secret potions.
Philippe, we should have just had you on here.
I'm giving you all the answers. We're gonna.
What's next for Flixel? What can users expect? What are you guys working on
Well,
that you're able to talk about?
what we can talk about
Yeah.
is we're doing some fantastic things with the technology that will
Mhm.
make the experience for the user that much better than it already is. And so that's the first thing, because at the end of the day, this is a product for the user. So we
Mhm.
have to focus on making that exceptional.
Sure.
And so that's what we're focusing on in the next little while.
Mhm.
And then of course we have a roadmap that we can't go too much into.
What sort of feedback have you gotten from users? Like what are people, let's say, what are people, I'm going to ask what are
Yeah.
people doing that you guys really like,
Yeah.
but what are people saying to you about, what they don't like about the app?
Fair question.
Okay, off the bat, there's been a tremendous amount of positive feedback about the
Yeah.
seamlessness of the application, the creation process.
Yeah.
Again, we talk about this live painting, the way you unveil the image. It's just so easy, it's so simple, it's fun, it's inviting, it's playful.
Yeah.
So that's just been overwhelmingly positive. We've gotten a lot of great feedback for that. In terms of areas where you can be improved, espviously we released, something that, a first version will always need some tweaks, especially
Absolutely.
when there's a lot of people using it. Suddenly in one instance, there's certain routes that, people take, and there's, what we call bugs that we're tweaking.
Yeah.
So we want to enhance performance, obviously, is really important for us. And Phil talked
Yeah.
about some potential breakthroughs that we've had. So in terms of processing speed, we're really excited about some of the things that we're working on right now. That's going to make things just lightning fast.
Yeah, and also I think one thing that we can discuss is we're making some big breakthroughs in stabilization as well, because
Okay.
that's always a challenge, because
Sure.
as you shoot it,
Yeah.
depending how still you are, we have a stabilization built in,
Okay.
but we've got a new algorithm coming out that's going to be quite
Nice.
exceptional.
Math, it actually, kind of helps out sometimes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Should have dropped that in school.
No, I know. What
Well, what are some of the more interesting uses you've seen? I'm sure you guys take a look at all the different photos that
Yeah.
people are taking.
Oh, do we ever?
What?
Do we ever?
And I would put money on it that there's cat memes already out
Yeah.
on Flixel.
It's incredible,
There's a blog actually.
There's a blog.
There's someone who started a Flixel Cats tribute. It's crazy, and just cats.
Just
Flixel
cats.
I'm hearing rumors about Flixel babies coming out, Flixel puppies. It's just insane. But interesting things. What have you seen that's really?
Well, I mean,
blown
there's
your
been some
mind?
interesting memes for sure. The subway, I think I started that. 'Cause
That was an
I-
early
yeah,
one, yeah.
Yeah, I did like the first one that was.
That was Phil's genius. That was him.
That was pretty good.
one
I'm
of the
really
founders.
happy with that one. It's nice black and white of Toronto, and it kind of started spreading, and it actually helped our downloads right away, because
Oh, nice.
people started retweeting that one,
Okay.
and then that was a discoverable.
But we're
And then
really.
people started doing some of the
Absolutely.
subways.
I think we're seeing kind of two two extremes. We're
Yeah.
seeing kind of the people that are really fun, quirky things,
Yeah,
like, you know, just ridiculous, sort of nonsensical, which, you know, kind
the
of
cat hitting a
the
ball.
cat, or yeah, you know, whatever, people, like 10 people typing in a computer in a row, like ridiculousness, you know,
Sure.
kind of a thing. And then you have people who are really taking this, like, you know, kind of
As an art.
yeah,
as
coming
an
from the
art form,
cinematograph sort of, you know, community and going, oh man, wow,
What can I do with
I
this?
can do amazing things in like 30 seconds
Yeah.
with a little vision and you know, some
Yeah.
conceptualization. Bam. So we're seeing kind of these two really cool extremes: the art kind of crowd doing really amazing artsy stuff, and then, you know, cats dunking the Raptor game. So
Okay.
it's just, I know it's crazy, crazy what cats can do these days.
Especially with the internet.
Yes.
And it's fun to see those discoverabilities inside the app, because we have
Okay.
like the all-time list, we have the monthly list, and you can start seeing the
Oh.
ones that have a lot of love. So you can follow some, depending, do you like, you like cats, we'll start following people who do
Well, what's-
cats. If
what's-
you like art,
Yeah.
high,
I think-
and
I
they
think-
can blend, they can be together,
Look,
of course.
I think cats are going to take over the world. That's my position.
What's, you know, outside of the early ones that, you know, as you guys were testing out the app prior to
Yeah.
launch, not including those, what's the most popular Flixel?
Right now,
Yeah. Not include, can we see it?
Fireworks.
Fireworks,
I
okay.
think. Is one of yours in the league?
Yeah, I'm still.
I think this
I'm
is
still
your-
in the lead.
Is it your
yeah.
TTC?
It is.
Yeah,
it is
the
my.
TTC is
So not including that
actually
one.
not TDC, but yes, the
That
subway,
one-
the subway.
That was pre-launch, right? Wasn't that pre-launch? the
Well, I
TTC?
did it like a
It
few
was-
days before we launched.
Yeah.
I believe
And-
if we had a lawyer in the room, he would say, yes, that's pre-launch, Mr. LeBlanc.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's true.
So not including that one. From your users, because I've seen some of your photos and they're
Yeah.
fantastic.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
You know, so not including, I mean, I don't know if you keep track of
Yeah,
some of
I
your
love they show up in the all-time list.
influencers,
Yeah,
or all, you know, the all-time list.
Some of our more younger flixographers.
yeah. I think that Cody is now the second one.
You have no idea.
The coding ones that with the row of,
You can check,
I don't
yeah.
know.
you don't have the app?
I don't even use the app. I'm kidding. It's awesome.
I
No,
believe it's
seriously.
now. You can check. I believe
Which
it's.
one is it? God, I'm not sure.
I want to, I want to ask you guys this one
Go ahead.
question, and if you can both answer it separately.
Okay.
You know, for budding entrepreneurs, for people that are out there, you know, coding, working really, really hard.
Yeah.
What lessons, and I'll ask you first, Mark, what lesson would you want to give them?
You know what? Work smart. Work really intelligently. I'm serious. Like, it's one thing to, like, okay, I got a 12-hour day and I'm so, wow, look how hard I'm working, look how great I am. That's fantastic. But it's incredible to see how much time we waste and what we think is productive actually really isn't. So I would say, in order to find that out, obviously surround yourself with proper mentorship. I think it goes a really, really long way. So we talked about building those relationships. In that first business, we learned a lot.
Yeah.
You know, we listened a lot. We asked a lot of questions. Even if you look foolish, it doesn't matter. 3 years down the line, you could be selling a puppy for $30 million. Who knows? Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But you know, that's what I'm talking about. So building those relationships, surround yourself with proper mentorship and listening. So then when you work, you're really working efficiently.
Nice.
So that's my, that's my 2 cents.
Who's been one of your biggest mentors so far?
Biggest mentors, eh?
Or one person that's really kind of helped you? Said, you know, surround yourself with people. You know, who'd be one person?
You know, it's so hard to really pinpoint one individual. I think it's been a culmination of people that I've worked with,
Okay.
even friends in different sort of, whether it's in marketing, communications that have helped me out over the last couple of months, or people in our first venture, consultants that we've had that really have helped. But I can't really say it's one individual per se. I mean, like Phil mentioned, Matt Eldridge has helped us a lot.
Sure.
Guys like Sean Carver, and I'm already saying names, and then I'm gonna forget a bunch of people.
Yeah.
And come off as an asshole, so I do apologize. But I mean, even our parents have helped us immensely in terms of funding and
Sure.
throwing a couple bucks here and there. Because it's not always a pretty road
No, I can
to
imagine.
success.
Philippe, what about yourself? What would be one piece of advice you'd want to give to a young entrepreneur, out there maybe working in his parents' home,
Yeah.
or just struggling, whatever it is, what piece of advice would you want to give them?
I mean, it's. I think we've all heard the cliches.
Mhm.
Never give up,
Sure.
work harder.
Mhm.
I think Mark is absolutely right. Work smarter is definitely the key thing, because you can work really hard but if you're not working smart, it won't work
I
out.
think it's one of the dragons that said it, you know, like,
Yeah.
you can keep digging and digging and digging, but man, if that hole's getting deeper, you gotta put the shovel down.
Mhm.
You gotta put it down, and that's where when you have mentors say, whoa, 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 I think you're digging in the wrong hole here.
Mhm.
That's huge.
To add, I think the key thing is to not see whatever project you're working on is, don't see it as just that one project. You're seeing it as a career,
Mhm.
meaning, you know, we talked about the last business. Well, everything we learned from that business is transferred, and it's made this
Absolutely.
process that much faster, that much better. Build those relationships.
Learn from your failures.
As they say, like, you learn more from your failures than your successes.
Absolutely.
But of course, the successes gives you access to, you know, more money. So
Yeah, and not to get all quoted, but I will.
Sure.
But I will anyways. You know, a failure is really just kind of a down payment towards your eventual success. If you're paying attention and you're
Mhm.
not repeating the same mistakes over and over, right?
Sure.
So pay attention, be vigilant, be
Absolutely.
present. I
absolutely.
think just be really present.
Good stuff. Guys, thank you so much.
Thank
For
you
joining
so much.
us.
It was a real pleasure. It
If-
was awesome.
Anyone wants to get in touch with these guys, Flixel.com is the website.
He's the man. He has an awesome shirt, and we're celebrating our 2-week anniversary.
And
So,
if people want to get in touch with you, whether they're the best coders out there or they want to throw
Or best flexographer?
best
need some
flexographers
Flixels, folks.
or they want to get in touch with you for whatever reason,
Yes.
how can they get a hold of you?
I think you can reach us at support@flixel.com, or if you want to reach Philip or myself personally, phil@flixel.com or mark@flixel.com.
Awesome. And my name is Karim at thirdocean.com. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.